Now, if you're interested in Essex-based crime stories, or true crime overall, please press the subscribe button to be notified of future videos. But please be aware, however, that some of the content of the videos may contain graphic or offensive images and language. I do find that generally makes people stay though, not leave. The following is taken from an article detailing how a person testifying in the Stephen Cameron murder case against Kenneth Noye was subsequently shot dead. You may be wondering why Essex Crime and Forensics is detailing a murder which happened in Kent. That's fair. However, for those that know each area, and the level of criminal connections which run between the two adjacent counties, you will understand that large-scale criminals living and working in Kent will undoubtedly have links over the river in Essex. One of those criminals is Kenneth Noye. He had both financial and criminal dealings in Essex, and this story documented here highlights just one of many which is thought to be linked with Noye, albeit unproven. Since the publication of the book, A Million Ways to Stay on the Run, by Donal McIntyre and Carl Howman, alongside the release of BBC One's 6-part drama, The Gold, there has been renewed interest in the life and crimes of Noye. This article, printed on the 19th of February 2023, may not have been a crime documented and linked with Noye until recently, and gives context of the type of crimes he has been suspected of. Road rage witness who was shot dead by hitman after helping put Kenneth Noye behind bars. By Ariane Sorabi Shiraz, lifestyle writer. The 19th of February 2023. Alan Decabral was shot dead by a hitman just months after testifying against M25 road rage killer Kenneth Noye, who is featured in BBC drama series The Gold. A man who witnessed the M25 road rage killer's horrific attack on an innocent man was then shot dead just months later. Dad of 3 Alan Decabral claimed he saw Kenneth Noye murdering 21-year-old Stephen Cameron on the slip road to the M25 on May 19, 1996. Stephen's fiancée Danielle Cable, who witnessed the whole incident, was key to bringing Noye to justice after a 2-year manhunt to find the killer. He was handed a life sentence in April 2000, while Danielle went into witness protection and given a new identity. Mr. Decabral also provided evidence that proved crucial in getting him convicted, but he declined going into witness protection. Just a few months later he was shot dead by a hitman. Kenneth Noye, who was released from prison in 2019, was a career criminal who was also involved in the Brinks Mat robbery of 1983, which is currently being depicted in a 6-part BBC series called The Gold. While being investigated for his involvement in the gold heist, Noye fatally stabbed Detective Constable John Fordham, who had entered the grounds of his home. Noye was acquitted of the murder on grounds of self-defense, but was later jailed anyway for his involvement in the robbery. He served 8 years behind bars and left prison in 1994. Father of 3 Alan Decabral had given a testimony that helped convict Noye for the road rage murder. Speaking at the Old Bailey, he had said he had seen 2 men fighting on the slip road of the motorway and had seen Noye lunging forward with a knife and stabbing Stephen. He spoke about death threats and living in fear, claiming that 3 bullets had been pushed through his letterbox before testifying. Speaking to The Telegraph, Mr. Decabral said following the trial, "Giving evidence against Kenny Noye had a devastating effect on my life. I split from my wife because of the stress and I had to shut down my motorbike business because I have received death threats. I am constantly looking over my shoulder because I could be a target." Meanwhile, Detective Chief Inspector Bob Nelson said that Mr. Decabral had been offered police protection but refused it. He added, "We have spoken to his close friends and family and they have failed to support the story that there were any threats at all." Just months after the trial, the 40-year-old businessman from Kent was shot dead. He had been sitting in the front passenger seat of his son's car in a retail park in Ashford, Kent, on Thursday, October 5, 2000, when he was shot in the head by a hitman. Witnesses also described that they had heard Mr. Decabral beg for his life in the black Peugeot 205. They heard a bang, and saw a man in his 20s run away. The case led to a massive manhunt for the perpetrator, but no one has ever been convicted. Police confirmed they were looking at whether Noye could have had any connection to the murder, but he was never formally a suspect. They were also looking at other people. Police confirmed they were planning to interview him, but at the time he was at a special secure unit at Whitemoor Prison in Cambridgeshire, where natural daylight and contact with other inmates were denied, and they concluded that Noye had no proven connection with the murder. Kent detectives found that Mr. Decabral had a shadowy past, which suggested he had a long list of enemies who might want to kill him. A landlord of a pub local to Mr. Decabral said that he was known for having a shady past and didn't make any secret of the fact that most of his friends were in prison. Richard Gray continued, "I think everyone round here thought he was a pretty shady character, although people were shocked when they heard he had been murdered. The summer before he was murdered, he had pleaded guilty to possessing a prohibited weapon and 38 milligrams of cocaine." A police source said Mr. Decabral led a very tangled life both in his private and business affairs, which could have created enemies who wanted him out of the way. It would be wrong to just focus on a possible Noye connection in relation to his death, according to The Guardian. Speaking after his trial, Noye himself said he felt Mr. Decabral was an unreliable witness who created an edifice of lies about Noye so he could bargain with police. In his 999 call he claimed he had seen a gun. There was no gun. Another theory, which was investigated by police but never proven, looked at whether Mr. Decabral could have been a former Hells Angel member who was caught up in a war between biker gangs. The case remains open to this day. If you like this video, and enjoy Essex crime stories, please press the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.